destruction of Disney has gone from bad to worse. And for some reason, Disney is pretending like they can't figure out why America is rejecting them. For decades, Disney was unstoppable. Disney World in Orlando was one of the most popular travel destinations in the world. Me personally, I never understood the appeal. Have you ever been to Orlando? Why in the hell would I want to sweat my ass off waiting in line for a ride that lasts 45 seconds? To make matters worse, everyone else is sweating too. So not only am I miserable, I'm also having to smell the bearded woman standing in front of me who has more hair under her arms than she does on her head. It's actually a relief when she unleashes her personalized boodle breeze. Do you guys remember the Friday night lineup on ABC, TGIF? Boy Meets World, Step by Step. Step by step, we're all straight. A fresh start over, tomorrow will be gay. Hanging with Mr. Cooper. If you didn't watch TGIF on Friday night, you had nothing to talk about on the playground Monday morning. During the 90s, Disney was also dominant at the box office. The Mighty Ducks, along with the Mighty Ducks Dose and Trace, Aladdin, along with his sexy cartoon girlfriend Pocahontas, the character who inspired Elizabeth Warren to identify as a guardian and enter into holy matrimony with High Chief Peter Maivia, The Lion King, Scream, which was the first slasher film that most of us prepubescents watched. If you're a millennial, Disney is responsible for a lot of the classic moments from your childhood, but that was during a time when parents could actually trust Disney. I remember when I was in the 8th grade. At the time, I was in private school. I was in private school from kindergarten to 8th grade and started public school once I got into high school. Every year, the school organized a class trip for the 8th grade class, and every year, the class went to Disney World in Orlando. Our trip was scheduled for April of '99, but halfway through the school year, the school announced that the trip was being canceled. Why? Because Disney decided that they were dedicating a full week to the gay pride. For an entire week in June, it was like an LGBT convention. Well, Casey, if Pride Week was in June, why did the school cancel your trip in April? Yet, 14 years old, that's the same question that we had. The entire class was pissed off. Why were we being punished because Disney was celebrating Wiener 2 months after our trip? There were 2 reasons that the school canceled the class trip. One, they were boycotting Disney, not just Disney World. They were boycotting the entire company because they felt that Disney no longer represented their values. And number 2, even though Pride Week was in June, they didn't want to run the risk of exposing a group of teenagers to it. They didn't want to support a brand that did not align with their values. Now, today, the school's decision might sound extreme, but it's also the same decision that millions and millions of parents are making right now. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Today on the second channel, going to be talking about NIL destroying college basketball. Some in the media are claiming that college basketball is never going to be the same. To be honest with you, they're probably right, but at least men's basketball is still entertaining. I tried to watch UConn UCLA last night in the women's Final Four. It was absolutely brutal. There were 3 consecutive possessions that consisted of an air ball, a missed layup that hit the bottom of the backboard, and another air ball. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't talented players. Paige Beckers is amazing, but overall, the product it's just tough to watch. But anyway, click the link in the description below. Subscribe to the second channel. Headline at the New York Post. Snow White bombed so badly that Disney put another remake on ice. Remember a couple of weeks ago when the mainstream media was celebrating the supposed success of Snow White? Remember when Rachel Zegler was claiming that people would support her no matter what? This movie is amazing! Snow White is number one at the box office! This modernized remake, where the dwarfs represent every letter in LGBTQIA, and the two additional dwarfs that represent the @ and ++ identifiers. This is just what children need, an education of alphabetic representation. Due to a complete lack of competition and the overall decline of Hollywood, Snow White debuted at number one at the box office. Unfortunately for Disney, this was not a sign of success. This was the illusion of success. If a rapper releases a double album and only sells one copy because it was half off, but he still debuts at number one on the charts, was the album release a success? Obviously not. Same thing with Snow White. If I remember correctly, Snow White generated around $40 million domestically in their opening weekend at the box office. That was 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Since opening weekend, Snow White has only generated another $29 million in the United States. Worldwide, the film has generated $145 million. Woohoo! This is great! They managed to get closer to their budget. At minimum, Snow White is breaking even, but they also have a chance to do something the WNBA has never done: generate profit. Yeah, hold the celebration there, wanker spanker, because this polished turd, it is nowhere close to generating profit. The original budget for Snow White was around $270 million. As of right now, Disney is looking at $125 million in losses. But according to Deadline, Disney spent additional money on advertising and other expenses. Perhaps once they realized the stench of this turd was causing families to walk out of the theater, Disney put together some commercials in a desperate attempt to entice people to return. With the additional expenditures, Disney spent a total of $410 million on Snow White, which means Disney is looking at losses of almost $300 million. As a result, Disney has decided to suspend production on something called Tangled or Mangled. Who gives a damn? No one will ever see it. Due to their recent trend of huge embarrassing failure, Disney has stopped production on another one of their classic remakes. The film was in pre-production. They already had directors, they were casting roles, but Disney decided that it just was no longer worth it. They decided to cut their losses while they were still in the 6 or 7 digit range, instead of having more losses that were rivaling the net worth of LeBron James. Now, I'm sure Disney executives are asking themselves, how did we get here? What the hell happened? Maybe they are organizing focus groups. Perhaps they have hired a consulting firm to figure out this great mystery. How did a once dominant brand go from easily making hundreds of millions, maybe even $1 billion on a movie, to not being able to afford Preparation H? Fortunately for Disney, they don't need to waste money on a consultant. They don't need to organize focus groups. There's no need to send out surveys. Uncle KC is here to provide the answer for free. Snow White is not the first Disney movie that's been a huge embarrassing failure. It's just the most recent. Animated films like Lightsaber, which I believe featured the Star Trek virgin Mike Freeman in his quest to seduce Han Solo. Haunted Mansion, something called Wish, Strange World, a film that featured a normal husband and wife raising their 2 kids. According to Disney, that's a strange world. The latest Indiana Jones film, which was titled Dialing for Wiener, it was a huge embarrassing failure despite the fact that it featured Harrison Ford. The failure of Snow White, this is not a one-off. Even though Rachel Zegler played a role in the failure of Snow White, she is not the main reason that it failed. Rachel Zegler could have said nothing, and Snow White still would have been a huge embarrassing failure. There is a reason that Disney is struggling. And it's the same reason I gave you guys a couple of weeks ago. Disney has lost an entire generation of parents, which means Disney is now losing an entire generation of children. What will those children be in 10, 15, 20 years? Parents. Disney has potentially lost 2 generations, and I don't know if they will be able to recover. Now, I'm not saying that Disney's going out of business, but I don't think they will ever be the powerhouse that they were when we were growing up. Because Disney made the one mistake that an entertainment brand involving children cannot afford to make. Disney not only pissed off mothers across America, they lost their trust. And once you lose a woman's trust, it is damn near impossible to get it back. And when mama's mad, guess who else is mad? Dad, because dad is the one that has to hear about it. Dad is the one who has to listen to the complaints. But one thing both men and women have in common, we never forget how you made us feel. That's why it was so easy for me to remember the classic moments that Disney created back in the 90s. Been 30 years, I still remember. For the last 2 decades, Disney has made parents feel uneasy. Started slowly with Pride Week in June, then it turned into Pride Month, then it turned into Pride movies, Pride TV shows, Pride characters. Those feelings of uneasiness, it turned into feelings of anger, and the feelings of anger turned into betrayal, and the betrayal turned into mistrust, and now it's indifference. Parents no longer care about Disney because their children aren't allowed to watch it. When those children become adults, they won't have classic Disney films to share with their kids because they've never seen them. Give me your thoughts on this. Woke Snow White loses hundreds of millions of dollars, causing Disney to cancel production on another remake. Has Disney been irreparably damaged? Has Disney potentially lost 2 generations? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.